Hey guys, in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to stop being the nice guy. Dear girls who are finally ready to date nice guys, we don't want you anymore. It was written in April 2014, but it's still relevant today and definitely has a profound MGTOW message. So many guys out there trying to be nice, and guess what? It doesn't work. Women don't want a nice guy, they want a sexy, rich guy. Take me for example. I was being nice, taking her to dinner, buying her flowers, and assembling her IKEA furniture. But that's not what she wanted. A nice guy would have taken her to dinner, made her pay half, and then gone home with her. But I'm not a nice guy. I'm the guy who turns around and is your soulmate. Because I treat you the way you would treat a man, you use an insult. The bad boy insults a woman, and she still goes for him. The nice guy was a wimp who begged for her attention, and nothing turns a woman off more than a needy man. This narrative is taught chiefly from the perspective of blue pill men dying to become provider mules for women. At least they were until they got the idea in their heads that they were the prize, not her. So the blue pill man realizes that the woman he was dating in her 30s is not worth the effort. She's sour and unappealing compared to the sweet nectarine he could have had if he dated her in her 20s. She didn't give him the best years of her life, but now she expects him to provide her with his best years. She feels entitled to those years, and if she can't get them willingly, she might resort to trying to get pregnant. But how does she expect him to pay for child support? It's no secret that this woman is well beyond her prime. She's practically like a piece of old, spoiled meat. And unfortunately, these types of women in Asia are referred to as leftover women. That's because, usually by the time they reach 30 years old, unmarried women are seen as unstable, too opinionated, and mean-spirited for any man to want to date or marry them. Some men who take the blue pill erroneously believe that chasing younger women in their 20s is a good strategy. This is a misguided belief, as women in their 20s are often more trouble than they are worth. If these men try to attract younger women with flashy displays of wealth, they will likely be disappointed in the long term. Rather than relying on superficial things like cars and clothes, these men would be better served by focusing on developing their personalities. They're in trouble if they manage to snag one of those hot singles. Sure, they'll get married and have a couple of kids, but those women will eventually divorce them in their early to mid-30s. Why? Because they'll want financial security for their children and realize that their husbands are beta male providers, not alphas. It's time to put an end to the alpha-beta nonsense. This mismatch between what women and men want from their relationship partners is causing the vast majority of problems in the world. We used to have laws regulating the sexual marketplace, but those days are gone. Women want to breed with a higher quality male. This is good for passing on good genes to the next generation. But the beta male also wants to pass on his genes, even if they don't meet the same high standards as the alpha. So that's where this dilemma comes from. This all boils down to one simple fact. 10 women would instead be impregnated by one man that's an alpha male and 10 men that are betas impregnating them and have different looks and social values. Civilization was based on the idea of forcing one man and one woman to marry for life. If divorced, they would be thrown out of society and spat upon. The work mules of mankind built civilization and sacrificed their lives for women and children. Still, they do not seem to be rewarded by society. Women are now avoiding them. The tide is turning regarding how society views the nice guy. Many women are beginning to see that he is just a tool, someone to be used and cast aside. All women get bored more quickly than men, and they're always looking for new potential partners. No matter how unattractive she may be, she'll still want to date Brad Pitt. And if he doesn't respond to her messages on Tinder, she may try to stab Angelina Jolie. I have been in a similar situation, where a girl I was interested in friend-zoned me. But when she saw my success, she suddenly became interested in me again. At first, I wasn't very nice to her because of my social status and how I was dressing, so she wasn't interested. But then I flashed some cash at her and treated her poorly. And as a result, she saw me as being worth her time. Because if I turned her down, I must have other options, right? It's insulting to see that when left to make their judgment call, women will often choose what makes them feel good in the short term, instead of what makes sense in a long time. Guys in their 20s looking for quality women. They're looking for a woman from a generation that doesn't exist anymore. Women today, well into their 30s, want to have fun before settling down. They seem to enjoy everything from a guy, including looks, money, height, humor, and a jerk. A nice guy can be a jerk at the same time without it being a paradox. So try wrapping your head around that sometimes. Suppose the first time you're rejected in your 20s, you don't learn from the experience and stop being friendly to women. In that case, you're doing yourself a disservice, not because you no longer see being Mr. Nice Guy as a way to get women, but because it's no longer worth the effort. The problem is that for most men, it's natural for us to nicely behave because we want to make women happy. But for a woman, that's like getting a dog that's already house-trained. They want the challenge of breaking you in themselves, so they can mold you into the type of slave they want. Being well-behaved can also lead others to believe that you've been broken by another woman in the past, making you seem like less of a man. But with feminism and political correctness dominating our society, could it be possible that well-behaved men are being shaped by culture, not just individual women? It seems that for many men, being a nice guy is actually a ploy to attract women. I know that's what I had to do, undo all the programming society had instilled in me about how to behave if I wanted to be successful with women. Instead, I focused on what it truly means to be a nice guy, someone kind and respectful, without needing anything in return. For over a generation, feminism has taught women to be jerks and men to be good providers. But this should really be the other way around. Men should be jerks, and women should be excellent. You saw that in the old Sean Connery films from the 1960s. People were much happier back then than they are today. Today, women are violent and horribly behaved, pushing around beta male providers. Still, eventually, they destroy them in the divorce courts. It's no wonder many so-called nice guys turn sour after they've experienced the trials and tribulations of dating women. But what's scary is how forgiving these same men are when it comes to relationships, even after they've learned about the true nature of women. What makes them think that things will be different the next time around? After all, they risk losing everything they've worked for if things don't go their way. All for a woman in her 20s that's probably even worse than a woman in her 30s. Today's richer, nicer guys think they can beat the game by being good to women. But each generation of social degeneration only worsens, and there is no society-wide solution. This is all related to human nature, and the answer to it must come from individuals. Men need to stop doing favors for women and letting them paint their own houses and fix their own cars. I was one of those nice guys who would help out my girlfriend's friends with moving or painting when they needed it. I was an adult and provided free labor. Thanks for conditioning me to be this way, Oprah. But let me tell you, all you men out there listening, stop being nice to women. They don't want that type of nice guy. Anyways, that's all I've got to say for today. See you next time. Cheers. Amen.